Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. So, welcome back to the channel. My name is Abu Idris, and this is the Hijrah Tips and Advice channel, giving you all the information you need to know from my experience so that you know before you go. So, I'm going to jump right into it. This video, we're going to cover some mistakes that I made in interpreting Arabic culture. So, I'll take you back to when I first arrived in Bahrain. I think this was 2004. So 2004, I've been putting my resume in everywhere, my CV in everywhere. And so finally I get a call from the school that says, come on in for an interview. So I go in and I'm sitting there in the general manager's office. And this is my first time interviewing in a school overseas. So I didn't know that a general manager could be the owner of a school. Obviously, you had to have some background education. So I'm sitting there, and we're just making small chit chat. I give him another copy of my CV, and then the what I know now is the tea boy. The tea boy comes and he brings tea. So I had never experienced being offered refreshments on a job interview. So I'm talking, but that made an impression on me. I was like, wow. Okay, because we had some dialogue. We were talking a little bit. They were looking at my resume, asked me questions. We had a little small talk in between, and then the tea came. So I was like, "Whoa, does this mean I have the job?" I was really excited. I was like, "Does this mean I have the job?" They offered me tea and everything, and little cookies and all this, and a bottle of water and everything. I had never experienced, being offered anything. You sit down, you talk about your qualifications, you ask some questions, you get to the salary negotiation and the regular run-of-the-mill interview stuff. That's when I found out that offering tea and coffee and water is standard in almost every Arabic country that you go to. It's standard. Like, it will be considered rude if you weren't offered tea or coffee or something to drink or something like that. I'll let you in on a little expression that I learned, or a little thing I learned when I was in Kuwait. One of the Kuwaiti brothers, they told me, they said, if the person when you offer the person tea, they said, if he drinks the tea, he came to socialize. If he doesn't drink the tea and he leaves it there, he came to talk business. Okay, and so far I've seen that this can be true. Okay. But you don't want to refuse. Well, you could refuse it. It wouldn't be rude if you're a Westerner, but they're going to bring it anyway. It doesn't mean, like I thought. I thought it meant like this was like the celebration of the cap off, welcome, here's some tea, join the family kind of thing. And it didn't mean that at all. Okay. So if you're offered something to drink, it doesn't mean that you've got the job. It just means that, this is part of the custom there. The second thing I misinterpreted, or the thing I would say I misinterpreted this one, and a lot of people do, and it's caused some angst and a little bit of anger from a lot of the Western expats who are Muslims, because we take this particular thing very seriously, and that is inshallah, the saying of inshallah. So when you come across people in the Arab world, and I say the Arab world because the Ajanib, or the foreigners who have lived there, have adopted this as well, and it's unfortunate. When you talk to people, and let's say you have an article, let's say you want some work done. Let's say you have an AC that needs to be fixed. And so you say, listen, I need to get the AC fixed. This is the problem. And I need it to, if you can have it to me by maybe in 2 days because I have to move. They'll say, inshallah, inshallah, inshallah. Now we know that inshallah means if Allah permits, if Allah allows, Lord willing, like that. Okay. And when we say it, the meaning or the intent behind when we say it is, I'm going to do this thing, except it's short of Allah stopping me to do that. So if Allah allows me to do it, I definitely have the intention to do it. It doesn't mean that in the Gulf world. It doesn't mean that amongst the Arab countries. I found that most of the time, inshallah just simply means, I don't really want to do it, but I'm not going to tell you no. Or it's a very polite way of saying no, but they don't really intend on doing it. So part of from what I've observed from the Arab culture is that you won't find many Arabs telling you, they won't say the word no. So if you ask them for something, they will not say no. They may say, unfortunately, I can't because I'm sorry, I can't because really, I don't think I can do that because, but they will not say the word no. There's something about that in the culture that is, they find that is like, like harsh. Okay. Uh, so they will say, no, I'm sorry, or this, or they'll say, inshallah. Inshallah, I don't want to turn your way. I don't want to say no, but I just say, inshallah. And we get upset because we're like, listen, if you said inshallah, I'm thinking you're going to do it. Inshallah. Like you come back 2 days later and it's not done. You told me, yesterday, inshallah. Yeah, but this and that and that and that. Okay. So a lot of times this is also done to secure the service. So, a company, the business never wants to turn a customer away. If you go to the dry cleaning, I went to the dry cleaners and I said, listen, I need this throw pressed and I need it done. I need these 3 throws pressed and I'm going to come pick them up later on today. Oh, we're really busy like this and like that. I said, I know, but I got to have it. Can you have it done for me, like say maybe in 3 or 4 hours? Okay, inshallah, inshallah, inshallah. I'll come back 3 or 4 hours, it's not done. All right. Well, what happened? Oh, because this and that and that. And in and I've said that, I'm like, well, why didn't you just tell me that? I could have just went somewhere else. But that's not the way business is done. Everything that the customer needs to hear, they'll say it. Whatever the customer needs to hear in order to secure the customer. They'll never say no. Okay. If someone wants to do something, if you invite somebody out, he won't tell you no, he just say inshallah, inshallah. So that's one. So that kind of, sets us off a little bit because we know the power of that expression. It's not that they're necessarily lying. It's just that they're being polite and they don't want to say no. So they'll be polite. And sometimes it does come out that they actually do the thing that you asked them to do or whatever it is that you wanted from them. Okay. The third thing, and all of these are in no particular order. I had an incident at a school. Alhamdulillah, it didn't happen to me, but it happened to a lot of people around me, a lot of my colleagues, particularly the male colleagues. There was a problem with the salaries, and you will run into that from time to time. I'll do another video on that later. And it was the first time that I had actually experienced it. And again, it didn't happen to me, and that was there was no salary to pay. So for me, I worked out very early in the process of listen. Not only do I want my money on time, I have responsibilities. I need my money in cash. So I would go to the teller window of the school, and they would count out for my cash for me. Here you go, Mr. Abu Idris. Jazaakallaahu Khaira. Assalamu alaikum. And that's it. I'm off to the races. And I think as an American, as the only American, I think I was the only American there. Yeah, I was the only American there. So, they kind of treat Americans a little bit different. They don't kind of play around with them too much, So they were very compliant with me. But for at least 2 months, the other brothers didn't have their salaries. And we had brothers from Egypt, brothers from Syria, a lot of brothers from Syria. We had a couple of brothers from Saudi. I don't know if we had a brother from Pakistan there or not, but at this particular school, we did have a lot of Syrians. And Syrians are really good teachers, mashallah, very smart. We had a lot of Syrians. We did. We had a couple of Pakistanis. We had a Jordanian. So we had people from Sham, the area of Sham. And they weren't getting their money. They were not getting their money, and they were not happy. They were not happy. And so every day they were called over to the admin office because we had 2 sides. We had the boy side and the girl side. And on the female side is like the major admin section. So that when I'm going to get paid, I had to go over to the admin side. It's a walk. I had to actually exit the building, walk over to the other side where the admin side is, and wait at the window because the women got all the money. All right. So every time they would call, Abshir, this is the term. Abshir, Abshir. Abshir, good news, don't worry. Means don't worry or good news. Abshir, 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 inshallah. Abshir, inshallah. Okay, the brother's calling about his money. He needs to know how the salaries got, because I would call over for them sometimes. And they would put him on the speakerphone like that. No, Abshir, it's okay. Abshir, Abshir. Tomorrow, inshallah. Abshir, inshallah. And nothing for 2 months. And I don't want to spoil it to the video, but I'm gonna tell you why that happens in a subsequent video, inshallah. So Abshir was a big problem because Abshir literally means good news. Like, don't worry, you're getting ready to get that thing that you want. Abshir, I got good news for you. Abshir tomorrow, inshallah. Abshir bukra, Abshir bukra. You know, good news tomorrow, inshallah. Now, when you hear that combination of terms together, it a lot of times it's not good. So, of course, bukra came, or ghadin. Ghadin is from the Fusha, bukra is from the Amma. Bukra came, nothing. And it was like that every day until they got paid. Bukra, inshallah. Abshir, Abshir, Abshir. Oh, no. Don't worry. Abshir, Abshir. They will assure you like that. So that's one of the things I mistook for in the Arabic culture, that when someone says Abshir, it's a good thing and you're going to get the thing that you want and it's promised. The fourth one, I guess it'll be the final one. Oh, now I just lost it. So we had Abshir, inshallah. And then we had T. There was something else I mistaken. I can't remember now. But these things, they can cause you some problems. They can really cause problems in the way that you interpret them. Oh, the saying of wallahi. This is a big one. Because wallahi means that you are calling Allah to witness for you. Like, you're literally saying, what I'm saying is true, and you can ask Allah to. What I'm saying is true, and you can ask Allah. Allah will be a shaheed, a witness for me. That's a very dangerous thing, you know. And Rasulullah SAW, he said that sometimes the servant utters a word that he thinks is small, but it is huge in the sight of Allah, meaning it's a real dangerous situation, you know. But you hear a lot of people doing that, you know, wallahi, even to the extent that, going back to that hadith, even to the extent that the Rasulullah SAW, he forbade the people in the marketplace to use or to swear by their goods. Wallahi, it's fresh. Wallahi, those are fresh dates. Wallahi, somebody came in and asked about this thing and he wanted to pay more money than you. Wallahi, I know you said you wanted to pay X amount, but I got another bid and it's high. He's lying. And oftentimes, not all the time, but in a lot of my cases that I found with people, is that when you hear somebody saying wallahi a lot, either he doesn't know what the word means in its real nature, or two, he thinks that saying this somehow gives it like a stamp of approval, right? Like, okay, well, since you said wallahi, you know, or he is lying. Okay, and it's rare that a person will swear by Allah and he's actually telling the truth in those kinds of cases. Now, I am not saying, again, I got to keep doing this so people don't get the wrong idea. I'm not talking about every Arab in every country. I'm saying from my experiences, this is what I have experienced. And this is across 13 years of experience of hearing these terms going back and forth. So when you say wallahi, and unfortunately, the kuffar who live in those countries and the other nationalities have picked that up. So they say these things. They say, oh, Abshir. You know, the Filipinos and the Indians and like that. Abshir, inshallah. And they think it's kind of like funny. Inshallah. They think it's funny. Okay. So what kind of example are we setting for the kuffar and the ajanib that live in these countries? Okay. So, but that's the fourth thing. So there's take those things with a grain of salt. Take them with a grain of salt, because they don't necessarily mean what they appear to mean. They're more like, if this was equivalent to something, it would be like an idiom, right? So idioms are things that don't mean what they actually say. They just mean something else. So if you ask me, Abu Idris, how you doing? I said, oh, I'm cool. I'm not cool like I'm cold, right? I'm cool. I'm fine. So take them like idioms, you know, and don't read too far into the expressions and some of the customs that you see, inshallah. So I'm going to sign off here. This is a short video, or try to make it a short video. If you like what you heard so far, you got some benefit, please use these things when you travel, because the purpose of the channel is to know these things before you get there, so you don't get yourself in any trouble or you don't have an unpleasant experience, inshallah. So if you've benefited from that, or if you plan to benefit from that, you know, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification at the bottom so that you can get notified when we have new videos, inshallah. Jazaakallaahu Khaira. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.